All right, this story we're about to discuss has been inspiring outrage across the world and in the country also where it took place. You can find it on our website at cnn.com/world. It's an amazing story. I'll give you a brief synopsis and then we're going to talk to the CNN producer who's been working the story. 75-year-old woman arrested for having two men in her home who happened to be unrelated to her. They were arrested too, but here's the part that's really making people upset. She's been sentenced to 40 lashes and 4 months in prison for having two men, and it wasn't anything unseemly, right? The men say they were delivering bread to her. Can you give us some more details about what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. The men say that they were delivering bread, and in fact, one of the men who was arrested says that he is actually a relative, or considered to be a relative to the woman, because basically she acted as a wet nurse to him when he was a baby. And under Saudi and Islamic custom, if somebody does that, then the baby that grows up is considered to be a relative. So, in effect, if that were the case, there would be nothing wrong with it. But because the religious police suspected the man of not being related to her, and because there are male guardianship laws when it comes to women in Saudi Arabia, and you're not allowed from mingling, unrelated men and women mingling in public or private together, they were arrested.
CNN producer Mohammed Jamjoom has been following this story. He's even spoken to the attorney who's going to take this case. So, for a lot of people who live in cultures where women just don't have these kind of restrictions, it's very difficult for them to understand, especially, a woman who's 75 years old to be sentenced to lashing?
Right. This is, unfortunately, this sort of thing, not this particular case, but this sort of thing happens more commonly than you would think in Saudi Arabia. We covered a case in 2007 called the case of the Qatif girl. This was a 19-year-old who was gang raped in the eastern seaboard city of Qatif, and she was found to be with an unrelated male when she was attacked. And the judge sentenced the rapist, but then also sentenced her to 200 lashes and 6 months in prison. And